What is up, what is up, what is up, what is up? We are live. Welcome to another live session about freediving, holding your breath, being underwater, and most of all about the Underwater Squad, my community on the Skool platform, which if you haven't heard of yet, you must have been living under a rock, because the Skool platform is going to be the biggest platform, bigger than Facebook, bigger than anything else. It's growing fast and I'm on it. Skool.com/underwater squads. What do we get? We are heading towards 100 members this month, and in the next year I'm hoping to get at least 200, 300 members. What do we do in the Underwater Squads? We learn freediver techniques, freediver breathing techniques, and then we learn to hold our breath longer. So what does a freediver do? Well, you dive underwater, right? You stay underwater for longer times, and therefore you need to master your breath, you need to master your mind, and when you master your breath and your mind, you can hold your breath longer. So, what do you see when you get to the Underwater Squad? The landing page is this here. So we have a breath hold blueprint. So this is like an infographic that shows you the different stages of the breath hold. So you start with everything that happens before the breath hold. So the preparation phase, before you do even the breathe up. So the breathe up is the couple of minutes you take before you hold, before you take your final breath. So the preparation phase is what you do before the breathe up. So maybe you do 10 minutes of stretching, maybe you do 10 minutes of square breathing, maybe you do some meditation. So that is what we talk into that phase. We call it the stage number 0 because it happens before anything else. That is the preparation phase. And stage number 1 is the breathe up. So you prepare yourself before you take that final breath. In freediving, we do tidal breathing. So in the Underwater Squad, we talk in depth about what is tidal breathing. Then stage number 2 is the actual breath hold. So you are holding your breath. The relaxation phase is when everything is nice and easy. There are no contractions, no urge to breathe yet. The next stage, I believe stage number 1, 2, we must be in stage number 3, right? No, stage number 4, 3 or 2, I lost count, is the contractions phase. So at a certain point in your breath hold, you no longer feel comfortable, you start feeling uncomfortable, or at least that's a feeling that you describe as uncomfortable, because in the Underwater Squad we learn to reframe our feelings. We learn to reframe that whatever it is that you feel inside, it might actually not be that uncomfortable, but because you're not familiar with it, you label it as uncomfortable. But as you become more familiar with that feeling, you will start to be able to label what used to be uncomfortable as comfortable now, which is a huge mental step forward in your breath holding journey. And then the last stage is the recovery breaths, when you take a couple of deeper breaths to fill your body back up with oxygen, of course. So here we have a couple of wins. Well, not a couple of, a lot to be honest. So in today's live training, I managed to hit a new PB at 4:30. So Esther Yap 4:30. Jacques Dish, I completed Ultimate 1. Thank you for this awesome course. 50 meters dynamic apnea today. Martin reached 2 minutes. Had so much fun training with the Underwater Squad. 3 minutes on my first breath holding session. Randall is a spearfisher, holds his breath longer now. Johnny 4 minutes and 10. Alkis 2 minutes and 28, 3 minutes from 4:15 to 5:07, 5:03 PB, and so on and so on. So we have a breath hold training program inside of the Underwater Squad that goes all the way up to 4+ minutes, and some members hold their breath for even 5 minutes. And then we have another slide here that tells you who is this program for. So in case you are wondering, is this for me? Well, it is perfect for new freedivers, spearfishers, or returning freedivers. So what are new freedivers? Those are people that haven't freedived yet. So maybe you are thinking about booking your first freediving course and you want to get the maximum out of this, right? So you want to show up prepared. Well, here in the Underwater Squad, you can start training your breath hold already, and not just your breath hold, but everything that comes with freediving. Your mindset, stretching, the breath work, because besides just holding your breath, you're also going to do breath work. So there's a lot you can do dry that we learn here in the underwater squat already before you actually book your first freediving course. And here we have another slide, a before and after picture from 240 to 408. These are just numbers from members, wins from the members inside the underwater squat. It can be anything, of course. Some people are happy to hold their breath for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If you come from a place where you know nothing about breath holding and you can hold your breath for maybe 40 or 50 seconds, then you'll be very happy to hold your breath for 2:30 or 3 minutes, right? And we have other members that hold their breath already for, let's say, 3:30, and they now hold their breath for 5 minutes. So in the range between 0 to 5 minutes, that is what we do inside of the underwater squats. Let's take a look at the community tab. So before we dive into all the courses, let's take a look at the community tab and see what people are actually writing here. Mariano says, Ultimate 2, I completed my 4-minute breath hold. So we have different training tables inside of Ultimate 2. Ultimate 2 is the breath hold training program. Different tables, not only tables where you go to a maximum, but also CO2 tolerance tables. We have no contraction tables. We have tables where you take only one breath in between breath holds. So different kind of tables. This particular table is a table where you go to your maximum. So 4 minutes for Mariano. Then Mathieu, who holds his breath already for 5 minutes, he wrote a 10 minutes protocol for no warm-up dynamic. So Mathieu is a more advanced freediver, so the kind of posts that he makes are for more advanced freedivers. So we try to keep a balance in the underwater squats. We provide feedback and material for absolute beginners, but also for people who have already a certain level of confidence and expertise. So Mathieu, he does more than 100 meters dynamic, so that's advanced. And he has written here a 10-minute protocol, his 10-minute protocol. We could call that a preparation on dry land before he goes into the water. So if he does a dynamic in the water, a no warm-up, which means just one time you swim underwater, and that's when you go for your maximum. How do you warm up for that on dry land? So no warm up in the water, but on dry land you do a warm up. I hope that makes sense. And this is his 10 minutes protocol for that. So pretty in-depth posts that he's writing, nice and very useful for people with a bit more experience. Caio Caesar has questions about DNF. So swimming no fins underwater, and he has a particular goal. He is trying to get into the selection for the how do you say that in English? He's from Brazil, from Rio de Janeiro. So the Corpo de Bombeiros, which is the firefighter squad or headquarters. So he needs to swim a certain distance underwater, no fins, to be admitted into the education program for becoming a firefighter. So he knows how to swim 25 meters underwater already, but his technique is a bit all over the place. So here in the underwater squad, I give him feedback. So he posts his videos on how he swims, and then we all give feedback, not just me, but also the other members of the squad. So hopefully he can do a bit more than 25 when he does his test to become a firefighter. Neck weights, so Val Dessers is asking very specific questions about neck weights, the correct way to fully oxygenate muscles when jogging. So Mohammed is asking a question here about how he should breathe when he goes to the gym lifting weights or jogging. So all of this is covered in the masterclass inside of the underwater squat. So I make a reference to the masterclass here, and I give him explanation on how to breathe. It all comes down to nose breathing, of course. Caio again has a question about floating back up. So when you do dynamic, no fins or with fins, but you don't use weights, and you take a full breath, you're gonna float back up. So how do you deal with this? How you deal with floating back up when you don't use weights? Kapil, understanding your freediving journey. So he has a couple of questions about this is a question about my journey actually. So and I answered here how I started freediving and all the different stages I went through and how I broke my mental plateaus. Mathieu, CO2 progressive 3 minutes, which he described as a diabolic table. So we all have different pain points. We all have different limiting factors. And for Mathieu, this is most likely CO2 tolerance. So that's what we work on. But the good news is what he once called a diabolic table is now a table that he can do. And he doesn't only do the CO2 progressive 3, he also does a 330, which is the table that follows up on the 3 minutes. So those are not maximum tables, those are CO2 tolerance tables where you get less rest in between the breath holds. Another question about warm-up before static and dynamic. How to find the right bifin. So here we talk about different types of bifins and so on, guys. So we have a lot of questions in here. 50 meters no fins for what time? So Veronica is also a more advanced freediver. So we have questions for absolute beginners to the more advanced freedivers. A question about equalization. Let's take a look at the first course you will do when you get into the underwater squad. So here in the classroom, we have all the different courses. You start with Ultimate 1, which is a 6-week freediver breathing challenge. It's called the breather challenge. For every day of those 6 weeks, you get one workout. So this is what you will start with when you join the underwater squad, and this you can get for $9 USD. So this is the Black Friday month promotion. This month, November, you can get in for $9 USD, and then you get access to this breather challenge. So for 6 weeks, you have a 15-minute workout every single day. This is the core program of everything. You need to go through this. You need to know everything that's inside here, because here you get all the theory plus all the exercises that will enable you to hold your breath longer. So people always think, oh, to hold my breath longer, I need to have training tables. No, what you first need to do is master the skills it takes to hold your breath longer. And the skills it takes is like the skill of relaxation, the skill of taking a final breath, knowing the difference between tidal breathing, hyperventilation, and hypoventilation, and how to manipulate this. So this is a mix of a theoretical course together with exercises that you will do every day. This is absolutely the best course I've ever written in my life. If you go through these 6 weeks, you are no longer a beginner freediver, you are an advanced freediver. Everything about freediver breathwork is in here. So we cover breathing basics, we cover extending the breath. Week number 3, breathing less. So the principle of breathing less is all what freediving is about. So people think, oh, to hold my breath longer, I need to start breathing more so I can oxygenate my body. No. You don't oxygenate your body. Your body is already fully oxygenated with 95 to 99% oxygen. So we call that SpO2, the oxygen saturation in your blood. So if you breathe less, if you breathe more, if you take these big breaths in, you're not going to oxygenate your body more because we are already fully oxygenated. In fact, and that's what we learn in freediving, if you breathe less, you're going to activate the Bohr effect. You're going to maximize the Bohr effect. So we talk about the Bohr effect. The Bohr effect describes how you can actually maximize how your body is using the available oxygen by breathing less. So breathing less would be hypoventilation or tidal breathing. Very, very interesting. In week number 4, we do the stretches. The Uddiyana Bandha, which is the queen or the king of all freediving stretches. So you're going to stretch the diaphragm, the big muscle that separates your chest from your intestines. So the more flexible your diaphragm is, the better you can take in breaths, inhale, and also the better you can equalize. So if there is one muscle that you should pay attention to for freediving, it is the diaphragm, and how do you stretch the diaphragm with the Uddiyana Bandha. So we spend a whole week on this Uddiyana Bandha because it is a difficult stretch, but doable. Difficult but doable. In week number 5, we're gonna do everything we can to overcome stress and anxiety. So for instance, we talk about cold water facial immersion and how this triggers the mammalian diving reflex, which triggers bradycardia, lowering of the heart rate, vasoconstriction, peripheral vasoconstriction, the fingers and the toes, so you get more blood flow to the vital organs, heart, lungs, brain. So week number 5 is totally dedicated to reducing stress and anxiety by techniques like visualization and the body scan. Super, super interesting. And we round up with week number 6, where you get daily routines for energy and focus, for sleep, focus and balance, flexibility, to relax. And we end up with day number 7, total Zen, 10 minutes of total Zen. Because here is the thing, guys, if you cannot sit still for 10 minutes or even 5 minutes or even 2 minutes, if you cannot sit still on a chair like I'm sitting right now and just sit still and be calm, just sit still, if you are unable to do that, how do you think you will ever hold your breath longer, like 3 minutes or more? How do you think that's going to be possible? It's impossible. So first we have to learn to calm down, to find peace within ourselves and just sit on a chair, find that peace without feeling the urge to do something and check your phone and do whatever and look around and scratch your whatever. And believe me, that's what you're going to do if you're not used to this. And we see this in the underwater squat when people join, when they're still beginners and unexperienced. When they join the breath hold sessions, I can see them moving around and looking around, and they are unable to just sit still and even close their eyes. But the good news is, the positive news is, we can learn this. We learn this inside of the underwater squat. So this is the 6-week breather challenge. And then we have Ultimate 2, which is our breath hold training program, where we have breath hold tables up until 4+ minutes. So before you begin, here we have the updates and change log, because this program is constantly in evolution. So the last update was last month, October, where we did a big update. So we refined the tables for steadier progress. We added guided timers for all training tables, added double, triple, and CO2 tables. We added FRC and RV tables, updated pre-training lessons, the purges, the contractions, the recovery breaths, and clearer preparation and frequency guidelines. This was a massive update compared to last year. So what are the essential skills for holding your breath for Ultimate 2? So we have some preparation work here, how to take purges, which are 2 bigger breaths before you take your final breath. What are contractions and how to deal with contractions, because beginners sometimes don't know how to identify contractions. And when we do breath holds until the first contraction, which we call the no contraction tables, beginners sometimes don't know when they should stop the breath hold because they don't know when that first contraction comes. So here we have to create awareness of what is a contraction, listen to the body, and learn to detect when that first contraction comes. And we go deeper in on our recovery breaths as well. Then there is stretching plus, some additional stretches we see in here, more advanced stretches like a backward bends on the gym ball, hanging on a bar, on a pull-up bar, and the horizontal shoulder stretch. So 3 extra stretches on top of all the stretches that you saw in Ultimate 1. We have a training frequency guide, because the plan, the program tells you how many times to train, but some people just like to train less and other people like to train more. So here I give you a guide on how many times per week to train, and here is your prep explainer. So before you do the tables, what can you do, stretching or a form of breathwork like square breathing, and how long should you do that? That is all preparation before you begin. Then for absolute beginners, we have the range 0 to 1 minute. Then we have the range 1 to 2 minutes. Let's take a look at the range Yeah, let's go here, the range of 1 to 2 minutes. So we have double tables, triple tables, no contraction tables, maximum tables. Let's take a look at the maximum progressive 2-minute table. So for each table, in the thumbnail here, you will see what you're gonna do. So 1 minute preparation, 30 seconds breath hold. 1 minute preparation, 1 minute breath hold. 2 minutes preparation, 130. 2 minutes preparation, 145. 2 minutes and 30 preparation, 2 minutes breath hold. So here we gradually work ourselves up towards a 2-minute breath hold. And when we start the table, let's see, yes, are you ready? So
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 minute
and
preparation starts now. Tidal breathing.
So these are guided tables, so my voice will guide you through all the breath hold tables. So here you have 1 minute preparation. Let's fast
in the 2 purges,
you take
2
your
bigger
first
breaths.
purge, then you take your second purge, then you take your final breath, and here we are holding the breath. 30 seconds, very short. So as we progress into this table, the breath holds become a little bit bigger. Let's see where we are here. We're holding the breath here. So this is a 2-minute breath hold. We are 33 seconds into the breath holds. Let's fast forward a bit.
1 minute, and I'm gonna give you a countdown.
1 minute
from
and 50
10,
seconds into
9,
the breath holds.
8, 7, 6,
Counting
5,
down.
4,
Counting
3,
down. Relax
2,
even more.
1. Release.
And recovery.
In,
so these are
out,
the guided
in,
breath hold tables. For the range 2 to 3 minutes, we have many tables. For the range 3 to 4, we have even more tables. We have CO2 tables, we have RV tables, we have FRC tables. So starting from the range 3 to 4 minutes, we are also doing empty lung breath holding after exhalation, and then we have a range 4 to 5 minutes for the super advanced people. Most people are somewhere in here in the range 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And once you hit a 4-minute breath hold on tidal breathing, then you can start experimenting with, once you hit a 3-minute breath hold on tidal breathing, you can start experimenting with mild hyperventilation. You don't have to, but you can for static apnea only. So during the live sessions and the replays, we also do mild hyperventilation. The whole program is based upon tidal breathing, because tidal breathing is what you're going to use for freediving. So for vertical diving, freediving, and horizontal diving, dynamic, you're going to use tidal breathing as a breathe up. So this whole program is done with tidal breathing because it's a preparation for freediving. But however, for static apnea, more and more freedivers are using a form of mild hyperventilation, and we do that as well in this program. Let's take a look at the calendar. So here every Wednesday and Saturday we have live sessions at 8 p.m. Bangkok time, Indo-Chinatown. Not town, time, Indo-Chinatown. If you don't have time to follow this live, this is perfectly okay, because most people follow this in the replay. So there is like more or less like 6, 7, 8, 9 people who follow these live sessions at once. It's always different people, they kind of rotate. But most people, because we're almost with 100 people inside of the underwater squad, most people follow these sessions on the replays. And the replays you can find here in the classroom tab. Here we have the replays. So 2 days ago was our last session. We started with square breathing, and then we did a mild hyperventilation session to 3 minutes, which enabled Alessandra to set a PB. She did 3 minutes for the first time. So we do square breathing as a preparation. Then we did a mild hyperventilation, the progressive table, and then we do a wrap up. So after each training session, we talk a little bit, we evaluate. I ask people how was it, and I give some cues, tips on things that can improve. So these are the people that were online on that particular session. Then here we did a TB's triangle breathing. We did a FRC RV till the first contraction, so empty lung breath holding till the first contraction, then till the 5th contraction, and then till the 10th contraction. And here we have the replays of the other sessions. So we do a variety of things and we all hold our breath together. Now you might say, how does this work when everybody holds the breath together? Because there is beginners in these sessions and there is people who hold the breath for over 4 minutes already. So how do you balance the level of all those different people in one session? And we do that by allowing people to stop their breath hold whenever they want, of course. And for instance, when we do here the first contraction, you stop your breath hold at the first contraction. So some people will stop the breath hold earlier than others because your first contraction will come earlier than someone who is more experienced. So if you stop your breath hold earlier on your first contraction, you just have more recovery time. You have more recovery time, which enables you to hold your breath a bit longer than on the second try. So if you stop earlier, it means you have more recovery time than someone who stops later. So someone who holds the breath longer will have less recovery time. So eventually it all comes down to the same thing. People stop holding their breath more or less around the same time. So this works out very well with different levels in one session. So this is, besides the Ultimate 2 breath hold training program, this is another way of training your breath holds. And as I'm getting to know the members of the Underwater Squad more and more, because I've been doing this for over a year now, a year and a half, I believe, I start to get more feedback from members, and I start to understand now that the members of the Underwater Squad appreciate these replays a lot. So if you cannot be there live, that is no problem at all. This is here in the replays, the place where most people go for their breath holding. And another thing, this is maybe this is funny, but if you're following a replay and you're watching these videos here, it feels like you're not alone. So breath holding can be quite a solitary activity, right? So you're doing this always alone. So if you follow a replay like this one, well, you're still alone at home doing this, but you're holding your breath while watching other people hold their breath as well. So it gives you the feeling that you're doing this in group, even though you know it's not live because you're doing the replays. So that is psychologically probably something very positive, the feeling that you hold your breath when other people are there on the screen doing exactly the same. Now, besides Ultimate 1 and Ultimate 2, we have the apnea library, where we have all the exercises from Ultimate 1, the stretching, the breath holding routines, the breathing routines, all together in one library. So if you just want to do one particular exercise, you can go here into the breath work, the apnea library. Then we have the Breathwork Masterclass. This is an advanced course where we go deeper in on all specific aspects of breath holding. So this is not something that you will execute yourself. This is a theory class. This is high level, in-depth videos. If you understand this, and some videos you might have to watch a couple of times, then you have advanced level, high level knowledge of freediving. We talk about oxygen saturation and hypoxia and the relationship between those two, and how you can manipulate this by manipulating your breath. So tidal breathing versus hyperventilation versus hypoventilation. We talk about the mammalian diving reflex and how to activate this. We go in depth on the lung volumes, the FRC and RV, inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual volume, functional residual capacity, vital capacity, total lung capacity, and so on. We talk about the different lung volumes, example metrics, heart rate, SpO2. So we take a look at some of those metrics. These are posts from the members, super interesting. Mindset, what is holding you back the most? So besides training your breath hold, we also have to train our minds. What is holding you back the most? How to delay contractions and enjoy static apnea more. Mental training for freediving, how to focus, how to relax for difficult dives, And then we also talk about how to breathe while exercising outside of the scope of freediving. So when you're exercising, how should you breathe to get the maximum out of your physique? Nutrition and supplements, mindset, discipline and sleep, and a little bit about mouth taping. So this is the Breathwork Master Class. We have a safety course because of course freediving comes with safety, so never dive alone. We have a liability waiver which you have to sign. When you sign up for the underwater squad, you have to sign the liability waiver so you don't do stupid things and hurt yourself. Never dive alone, never hyperventilate, with a little exception here. You can do in static apnea mild hyperventilation, but we never use this for freediving itself, so this is only for static apnea. And then free lifetime membership when you reach level 7. So you get free lifetime membership when you reach level 7. And what is level 7? So here we have the leaderboard where you get points. So the more interesting posts you make, the more you are actively engaging in this community, and the more other people like your posts and comment on your posts, the more points you get. And when you reach level 7, you get free lifetime access. So here you see the leaderboards per 7 days, per 30 days, and per all time, which is what we call gamification of this community. Is really cool to see your points. And then here we have the about page. Let's take a look at the community again. Let's take a look at the wins category. So in the community, we have announcements, we have safety, and we have wins. 4 minutes completed Ultimate 1, which is a 6-week breather challenge. Oh yeah, when you complete Ultimate 1, and also when you hit certain milestones in freediving, in breath holding, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 4 minutes, you get a certification. So this is a certification for Jose, Ultimate 1 6-week Freediver Breathwork Challenge certification. 2 minutes reached 2 minutes breath hold. Let's take a look at this certification from Alex. Ultimate 2 breath hold builder program, 2 minutes. So when you get a certification for your 2-minute breath hold, if later on you do 3 minutes, then I will update your certification to a 3-minute breath hold, of course. And you can show this if you would ever follow a freediving course or do coaching or whatever. You can show this. You can show this and say, hey, I have held my breath for 3 minutes already, or 4 minutes. Peace in the storm, talking about mental relaxation. Well, this was actually the storm in Jamaica, Hurricane Melissa, and how to find peace in here as well, mental peace. 2 minutes reached, new PB 230, new PB 430. Johnny added over 1 minute to his PB with some room to spare. FRC 230, so that's empty lung, got to 330 from 230 thanks to the new Ultimate 2 training. Ultimate 1 completed Ultimate 1. September 19, 7:30 a.m. in the morning, 503 PB, thank you Gert. New PB from 345 to 410. New personal best from 415 to 507. No contractions observations. Hi everyone, I'm currently working my way through the 3 to 4 minute portion of Ultimate 2. I'm finding that the no contraction table is actually becoming a calming experience. Who would have thought that contractions could be perceived as a calming experience? By relaxing even more once the urge to breathe starts arising, I'm able to delay the contractions a little bit, the first contraction a little bit, and also recognize when it's close. With all that, the first contraction is really nothing much to think about. And dare I say, actually comfortable and enjoyable. How freaking wonderful is this? Finished Ultimate 1. Finally, I got past the 230 mark with a 245 breath hold. Nice. Another best 5 minutes for Jeremiah. And so on, guys. If you join the Underwater Squad, now this month, we have the Black Friday deal. Here are our plans. If you join, you can start with the Ultimate 1, the 6-week breather challenge, for only $9, guys, for only $9. And then when you're inside, you can take a look whether you like it or not. And if you like it, you can decide to upgrade. So you get access to all of the programs for $37 per month. But you don't have to. You can stay in here for $9. You can stay only 1 month and then decide that's enough and leave. So there's people who have been in this community for over a year. And if you plan to stay longer, or if along the way, if after a couple of months you realize that we are really providing good value inside this community, and that this community is really helping you in finding peace and holding your breath longer, then you can still decide when you're already inside to upgrade to the annual plan, because when you do the annual plan, you get 40% discounts on your monthly. So that means if you would be here in the monthly, the premium, you pay $37. If you upgrade to the yearly, you do not pay $37. You get 40% discounts on the $37. So that comes down to more or less $21 per month. So if you opt in for the yearly, $259 per year, that comes down to $21 per month, which is an absolutely fantastic deal. You don't have to, of course, you can do this. So some people stay in a community for a couple of months, then they decide that's enough. Or maybe they have reached their goals, you know, if they wanted to hold their breath for 4 minutes and after 2 months they're already there at 4 minutes, then the goal is reached, right? Then you can decide to leave. But let me tell you, if your goal initially was 4 minutes and you reach 4 minutes, you're not gonna want to leave, because you know that the next goal is 5 minutes, of course. So you just stay and hold your breath longer, keep on training. So we have the standard plan for $9 per month. We have the premium plan for $37, and we have the VIP, which is basically the same thing as the premium, but you get 40% discount. So let me tell you what you get for the standard. You get access to the 6-week Freediver breathing challenge, where you learn to stay calm, hold your breath longer. This is the preparation for the Ultimate 2, which is the breath-hold training program. And here in the standard, you also get access to the Underwater Squad community, so you can ask questions. So when we get in here, you get access to this on the $9 tier. So you can ask questions here, and you can get feedback from the community and from me for $9. It's for nothing, guys. It's for free almost. When you upgrade to the $37 per month, you get everything that's in here in the standard, plus Ultimate 2, which is the breath-hold training program, guided tables, plus progression to 4+ minute breath holds. Some members hold their breath up until 5 minutes. You get access to the apnea libraries, short exercises you can do anywhere, the Breathwork Masterclass, advanced freediver breathing, the mini challenges, 7-day routines to keep you consistent, and the weekly live trainings plus replays. If you don't have time, or you live in a different time zone and you cannot attend the live sessions, no worries. Most members actually follow this in the replays, which are posted twice per week in the classroom. That is it for today, guys. If you want to be part of the Underwater Squad, which is a growing community going up to 100 members, and next year, beginning of next year, we're going for 200 members, where you get support from not only me, but also from the other members of this community, then join now. You can join for $9 USD. I see you inside. Peace in every breath.